Hey guys, Jim. Today I'd like to talk about a book that I read recently. It's called Powering Your Property Tree: Perspectives from a Seasoned Mortgage Professional by the name of Yip Woon Lye. This won't be a normal review where I go through about my thoughts on the book. In fact, I like to point out certain things in the book that actually stood out to me and I think would be useful for your knowledge as well. So let's dive right in. First of all, this book has a part that spoke about the general factors that contribute to a thriving real estate market. I'm going to read them out to you here. High employment rate, low interest rate environment, government tools that matches the needs of Singaporeans, favorable population growth policies, support from both locals and foreigners which create demand in the property market, good liquidity in the region, and positive future potentials of the city-state, such as the master plan that's revised every 4 to 5 years. Other things include the extent of home ownership in Singapore, the government's strong infrastructure, objectives and policies regarding to housing policy, land sales, stamp duty and taxes, the good economic foundations of Singapore, as well as the political stability, and very importantly, the strong Singapore dollar. Okay, Singapore is also attractive to foreign investors as a financial hub, wealth center, and is transforming into a thriving and vibrant tourist city. So these points brought up by the writer in this book actually make sense that it all applies to Singapore, and I think we are an investor looking to Singapore or other countries. In fact, these tools are a good guideline to see whether that country or property is worth investing in. Next was an interesting consideration where she wrote from a valuation perspective when she spoke about the size of a project being an important consideration in a property purchase. Here's what the writer says. For a large project with more units, there will be stiffer competition and smaller opportunities to fetch good rental returns. Similarly, sales opportunities will be affected by an increase in the number of competing units too. Alright? But more importantly, she follows this up by saying, however, in bigger projects, there are more transactions put up for sale, thus enabling the value or price of the property to be established and appreciate at a quicker pace than prices in a small development. As a professional myself, I saw the trend that larger developments with good facilities, property prices there tend to rise faster than smaller developments with not that many facilities. I thought that it was just the inherent demand that people have for facilities. They want something that's spacious with more lifestyle. However, in fact, this book actually shed some light that there is a valuation effect as well, because there's more transactions, there's more volume, and the valuation professionals in fact take the average of recent transacted prices of the development to gauge the value. So when there are more transactions, it's easier for the valuation of the units within the development to go up. Okay, so some examples she stated is like the Caribbean Reflections at Keppel Bay compared to the Foresta. Okay, so smaller developments usually have fewer transactions, thus it is difficult to gauge their actual value. In fact, most financial institutions may just use the latest transaction price as the benchmark for loan approval. As this book was released in 2014, that was after the TDSR came out in 2013. The writer did speak about that this TDSR may be a good time for first-timers as they are not subjected by these cooling measures. In fact, right now in today's market as well, the people who stand to benefit the most are first-timers and property upgraders, as most of the cooling measures are for people who have multiple properties, multiple existing loans. Then they will be subjected to lower loan to value limits, as well as higher additional buyer stamp duty. Okay, if you are a first timer or you are a property upgrader where you sell your property, then these measures don't really affect you and could be a good time to enter the market. Finally, this part was quite interesting for me as well, where in her last chapter, she actually wrote this paragraph. Going forward, for many potential property buyers who are hoping for a major correction of property prices resulting from the authorities' introduction of the TDSR, their hopes may well be in vain if developers continue to have strong holding power. Many reckon that Singapore's economy is yet to go down and the global economy may not worsen, and that there will still be good employment in the foreseeable future. Moreover, if population growth is in line with the expected annual numbers intended by the Singapore government, there will be ample support for housing demand in Singapore. It is likely that as long as full employment continues and there is strong purchasing power, the demand for housing will continue to persist and property prices will sustain. Right, so that rounds up the final point that actually caught my attention, and And that paragraph holds a lot of similarity to the current situation in Singapore, where since the July cooling measures last year as well as October, our property market has been a bit slow and people are thinking that prices will go down. Reality is that if developers have holding power, waiting might be in vain. I think it's more important to understand the macro perspective of Singapore, and because of that, I did a presentation that I think would be very valuable for you. It's something that talks about the macro perspective of the Singapore property market, and I've took a video of that presentation as well, and I want to share it with you. All you need to do is to click the link below in the description, fill in your name and email address, and I'll give you access to the training. If you enjoyed this video, do subscribe. New videos released every Tuesday and Thursday, and I'll see you in my next video.